This this video is made for adult collectors because I actually timed myself and it only takes about 2 minutes and 30 seconds to get this thing from truck to robot. That's awesome. See, I have to make this a robot to start this video because I want to start it in robot mode, but it's a Masterpiece Prime. I'm not dreading because it's just this with MP10 bits. So it's a lot of fun. I love it. This journey, oh my god, okay, FedEx actually sucked delivering this, but it's finally here and I could not be happier, oh my god. Legit, this could be the perfect Optimus Prime figure. This, however, was supposed to be here Tuesday and it wasn't, because FedEx thought I was a store and wanted to know my sales volume per province, which was not information that I have because I am not a store, and for some reason it took forever for the customs people to understand that. However, the lady on the phone was very, very helpful. Tangential review of FedEx real quick. Your shipping service kinda sucks. But Optimus Prime, this is part of the new Style Gen line that takes inspiration from several other iterations of the character and just sort of mashes it into one. I did pick this up at Hobby Genki, but full disclosure, they did ship it to me for free. There will be a series of affiliate links in the description of like the Overgear stuff, Ava Prime, Macross Prime, etc. because they do pre-order sales and they've got discounts on those. And Style Gen Prime, at the time of me recording this video, is out of stock on their website. I did get this guy off their site though for 125 US dollars. This guy has G1 Toon, G1 Toy, Bay, Rise of the Beast Siege, and MP10 all just sort of smashed into one, thanks to this handy dandy little slide from some Takara thing. And I'm all for this. At its core, it's still G1 Prime, but I like how it shares several aspects with other figures. Their new Hot Rod does the same thing, but it's just 86 upper body and Kingdom lower body. I kind of wish they had smashed like some Titan's Return in there or something. I love the more exaggerated proportions with the pointier head and the slimmer limbs. He feels like an athletic Prime. He is very clean, like so clean in robot mode. No large backpack because of a sound break. It's just Optimus Prime back there. He's got the MP10 / Power of the Primes like legs, and yes, here's the Power of the Primes from Comic Alley, not sponsored, and you could totally see the resemblance. Totally not, because Power of the Primes is designed to look like MP10 and Comic Alley didn't have an MP10, but oh well. Oh, and because I'm here he is with the MP01 missing his foot and his head. It's still kind of funny.
No, he's dead.
He didn't have anywhere else to go.
The only real quote-unquote masterpiece Prime I have left is this one, the Magic Square one. And the only reason I've kept the Magic Square one over any of the other ones isn't actually as deep as you'd think. It's literally because it arrived scuffed and broken out of the box, so I can't in good faith sell that to someone unless they are completely okay with it being a bit fucked. I love the way the colors look. The original renders made him look more matte, but in person he's pretty glossy, and I think it catches the light very well, especially that silver. It's so crisp. It's a slightly darker shade to most silvers we're used to, and the way that it hits the light makes it look like there's a darker gradient mixed in, which is just so nice. The thighs, by the way, are asymmetric, and that's kind of cool. I have seen some people complain about the bits on the back of the arms, which is intentional to mimic the G1 toy. Oh, that's where this detail on Rise of the Beast Concept Prime comes from. Okay, I get it now. But back to the people complaining about it, I totally get it if you don't like it. They don't fold away. It would have been nice if there was an option there to fold them away if you don't like them, but I personally don't mind the way that they look. I kind of dig the reference. The thing I don't like, though, is the hip ratchets. They're either stock straight or just out a bit too far. Not far enough where it's bad, but far enough that it bugs me. I really wish there was like an extra click in the middle of the first and second tooth to have the legs out just a wee bit, as opposed to my anus is bleeding. The chrome grille is nice front and center, and the chest opens up and then that flap folds down to reveal a matrix made entirely of diecast that I can't get out because it's stuck in there now. The head sculpt. This is like the perfect Optimus Prime head sculpt to me, because not only did they nail the shaping with the right amount of ear tilt and that clean crest, but the light piping is so damn good. Like in any lighting I put him in, he shines even outside.
The gross Canadian winter and these two on the street.
This thing feels very solid. Everything stays exactly where it's supposed to and nothing wants to come undone no matter how hard I try, unless I'm actively doing the transformation, which is how it should be. And he has 5mm ports all over him because Masterpiece Stylized Generations or something like that. I think that's what it stands for. He's one of those figures that just feels nice to hold. Again, it's really hard to explain without you actually holding the thing, but it just feels great. He comes with a lot of stuff. You get his ion blaster that sits in his hand with a 5mm port, and this clear part that's used for for storing the weapons in alt mode, but doubles as a mount to get the blaster on his shoulder, which is very neat. I display him with that and the Rise of the Beast Blades. His axe attaches by folding the hand back all 86 Prime-like and folding out the peg on the other side. Then here comes the cool stuff. He comes with the Siege axe for some reason. I don't own a Siege Prime at the moment, so here's the one from Comic Alley, again, not sponsored. And the Rise of the Beast Blades. I adore this inclusion, and while I prefer the Beyblade's design, Beyblade, get it? I haven't owned a Beyblade since I was like 4, but I would have preferred the Michael Bay swords, but these are still a very neat inclusion. Part of me wishes they could just plug into the wrist rather than sit underneath the hands, but well, that's just me nitpicking. Due to the transformation, you can flare out the knee pads a bit, which is how I like displaying it. It feels a little bit more like first movie trilogy Bay design, and this thing is so damn articulated. There is a lot going on here. Also, I just want to point out quickly, I know some people are going to ask how I extended this, because it is extended in most of the shots. I plugged ROG's extra stick in the back because I personally think this handle's a little too short. I kind of like the longer battle axe sort of thing, so like I give it a longer handle. There's so much range going on this thing that it makes the hips a little bit more disappointing, but the head, you've got some pretty okay tilt. I do wish the tilt was a little bit more, but it is a very nice ball joint. You get up, you get down, you can rotate the head. There's also a little joint at the base of the neck too that allows for that up to just be a little bit higher, which is nice. These shoulders, they're ratcheted, they can do a full 360, they can go out that far, and then you have like 86 style butterfly joint thing, so you can get the arms to go all the way forward if you want, which is awesome. He does have bicep rotation and above the elbow rotation. That's for transformation, but you can rotate this around and have the arm facing this way, and the reason is because the elbow bend gets you that much, which is pretty good, but if you want a double joint, you can do that as well. I personally, though, just don't like the way that this looks, so I leave it this way. I'm fully content with that elbow. And then he's got wrist rotation and like the Kingdom Rodimus hands, where it's the 3-finger trigger finger split with 2 joints in it. He does have a waist joint, which is great, and then if you pull this up, you do get an ab crunch, so we can crunch that far forward, which I wish it was a little bit more, but he can crunch all the way back. That's for transformation. However, it does look not the greatest because it's a transformation hinge, but you can still use it. The hip skirts can move out at the side and then out at the back here. The front ones don't move. They are completely solid. I kind of wish they did move, even though they've designed the hips in such a way. So this has drop down hips. So for those of you who don't know what a drop down hip is, here's Yola Park's Prime, for example. It's like a little hinge at the front here. So I can move the hip normally, or I can drop it down and get even more range if I want to, right? That's really cool. His hip skirt fell off. There are other figures that do this too, like G.I. Joe. This guy's got drop down hips, and some blockies have drop down hips. The way that this guy does it is different. So here's 102, SS102. He's got the same exact hip design as this figure. His hip skirts at the front don't move, and I'm assuming that's just a budget thing because this was built off a partial budget. But instead, what they've done is they've just moved the hip joint forward right here to allow for the leg to be able to rotate around that hip skirt. So it acts as a drop down hip, even though it isn't technically a true drop down. This guy does the same thing. So the hip is at the front here to allow for the leg to go like that. But I still wish this could move, or at least could get around this a bit more, because I would have loved just a teeny bit higher in the articulation. That would have been nice. But it goes forward that far, it can go back that far, and then, you know, it can do the full splits. You do have thigh rotation, though it is a little bit blocked by the sculpt. Once you move it forward, you get a lot more range, but yeah, down here it's a little bit limited. Then there's that hip thing I talked about, where that's click 1, that's click 2. Over 90 degrees of bend at the knee, which is very nice, and then the ankles, they can tilt, they can rotate, and then you can extend them so they can go forward and they can go back, and then you have a toe bend down. Extremely poseable Optimus. I really hope the hot rod is just as articulated, because this is so much fun. This robot just knocks it out of the park for me. Literally the only thing keeping it from being perfect to me is those hip ratchets. Everything else I adore. Masterpiece has grown to have this like reputation of complicated ass transformations, MP36, MP44, MP52, and so on. Recently, from what I've experienced, they've gotten a bit better, but here, it's very MP10 meets Studio Series 38 and 102. It really works. So if you've ever done this, or 38, or MP10, maybe a teeny bit of 44, you're gonna understand how this thing works. And it's really clean and super cool. But before we do that, let's get the rest of his accessories transformed, because they do that. So the axe, you just wanna fold all this up around here, get the handle folded up there, and collapse that. Then you wanna take these swords and straighten them out here. And you want to peg them together, but you want to peg them together so that these these bits are exposed. So you go this way and you peg that in like that. And then the axe pegs into the top there, and that's this ready for weapon storage. Then this bit here, you want to take the axe and you want to plug it in there. You want to take the flight stand, you want to plug it in here, and then you want to take this gun and peg it back there, and that is ready for storage. This isn't included with the figure, so it's going in a bin. Now the actual toy itself. So we're gonna start with, let's do the legs. So we're going to get these feet clipped into place and then fold them down. They will click. Then we want to take these little canisters or whatever here, fold them up on the side. Come back here and get your fingernail underneath this layer and just pull. And that will push this entire section up and it will peg into the thigh. Then you want to take this section inside this bit of the leg, fold it out and rotate that around. That is the trailer hitch. We're going to straighten out the legs, clip them together. They will clip together here and at the feet. And then the final thing to lock it into place is the trailer hitch. The arms, they're just like 86 prime. So you fold this up, get that in there, close that up. We're just gonna make sure that 5mm peg is flush. So the fists as well, they have to be like curled up in a way that the fingers tuck into the thumb. And then we're going to come to the back of the arm and fold out these window bits here on either side. Bring the arms out, rotate them 90 degrees down. So that's how they're gonna have to line up in the alt mode. Then you wanna take the chest section, we're gonna open it up. We're gonna come back here and we're going to just like unpeg these back bits. And then you're going to bring the entire torso up and split these bits down. These are going to come down and rotate around to the front. These are the only bits that kind of feel a bit clashy. Then you fold these down on both sides to form the, what is this? I believe like the headlights and floodlights and stuff. Then you bring the grill out like that, fold the real grill out, then come back here to the head and pop it up. This, so when you're going into robot mode, tuck the grill in first, then put the head in. I believe the instructions do it the other way, and it's just a little weird. So do the grill first and then the head, but you rotate the head 180 degrees, fold that down, fold that up, and then you want to push the head down so that the ears pass through this. Once you get that into place, you peg all that together. Then we are going to take the waist and rotate it 180 degrees and make sure all of this is sitting nice and flat. So you bring this section down and then bring these bits up while you're doing that. And once you get that done, the fake grill will peg in underneath to the little strut that it's on. And you bring this up and just close all that together. Close the front of the truck up on itself like that. Then you're going to take the arms, bring them down, rotate them back, and then up like this. And they will simply slide into place and peg together. Then you fold the window up and that's it. It's so satisfying to get this like tucked in. Because it works the same on 102 and I believe on 38 as well. But it was always just a little clashy. Maybe that's just because of all the detail and like bits sticking out. But here it's nice and smooth. So you get all that pegged together. Then you bring this section around on either side. You fold it up and then shift it so that it's in that gap. Then you fold the shoulder bits down on both sides. And then you get to this part. So this is basically what kind of holds this whole thing together. You want to open this section up here and you got to feed the knee pads into these little gaps here. So I find it's easy to take your finger and your thumb and put them right here and push ever so slightly up while getting this thing into place. And that'll clear it past everything. And then you can peg all of this together at the back here. Then you open up these panels, fold out the gas tanks on either side. I believe these are gas tanks anyways. Fold them up on either side. And that is your truck mode. That's very easy. And so much fun to do.
That is a clean ass truck mode. Literally my only complaint is the feet hanging out. Yes, they have taillights painted on them, but come on. They could have probably folded them in on themselves just a bit more. 102 and 38 kind of tucked them into the middle of the truck, and I kind of wish they did that here, but well. Everything else I really like. This front section, literally nothing wrong with it to me. It all stays together, it's clean, the rivets and the silver paint and the glorious chrome up front. The back is no slouch either, minus those feet, with a hitch for MP44's trailer, and like the great thing back here to mimic the Bayverse truck, that's a very neat detail. And the double stack tires. Part of me wishes they were rubber, but they still roll fine. The weapons can all store, but like it just looks weird. It's a big truck too. No, I'm not gonna sit here and try to remember how the Magic Square one goes into truck mode because I like my fingers attached to my hands. But just like the robot, it has a nice hand feel and works so well. I like how Masterpiece is taking several cool turns. You still have the G1 Accurate guys with the regular MPG. We're getting a new blaster and I'm excited for that. Then there's the new MPM line, MPM Next,
where they did Sideswipe, and yeah, his backpack looks a bit rough, but I like the slightly more simple transformation direction they're going, and I can't wait to give that figure a try. And then there's Style Gen, which honestly is exactly the type of figure I'd go for. I love the Generations aesthetic, so having a masterpiece form of that, this is the masterpiece line I think I'd love to complete. Oh, if they do Megatron or like Starscream that becomes an F-22, I would be so down. But as this figure stands, I have like 2 issues with it, the hips and the feet in the alt mode, but everything else is just such a great showing on this figure. It works very well. I definitely recommend it to anyone, provided you aren't breaking an arm and a leg to afford it, because in North America, the MSRP is like $175 US. I'm genuinely really happy with this, and I'm so looking forward to the rest. But that's my look at Style Gen Optimus Prime. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.